Coming up on Refresh.
Some of you think you ought to have all this and all of that. Well, they got this, they got that. You got to learn how to work your mustard seed. If all you got is a small amount, you got to work it. You got to work it in the morning. You got to work it at noon. You got to work it in the evening. All you got to do is work it. If you work it and you do what you're supposed to do with it, I promise you, it will grow and it will flourish and it will become something you may not even imagine it will be.
Host Apostle Stephen and Lady Darlene Davis, October 5th through the 7th.
Let them know that we're in the Shift Conference. We came to shift the atmosphere.
Get ready for Bishop Joseph Walker III.
Be careful who you give up on, because you never know what God is going to do.
Then get ready for Pastor Keon Henderson.
He's coming back to look for a church without a spot or a wrinkle. And you trying to get a paycheck? I'm trying to go to heaven.
And don't miss the powerful preaching of Dr. Jasmine Sklar.
And look at your neighbor and say, this is how I fight my battles. I don't cry about it, I shout over it.
The Shift Conference 2025, October 5th through the 7th. Register now at theshiftco.org.
If a man came and gave you $1 million, and you took the $1 million, and then there was another man that was trying to give you access to $1 billion, would you keep the $1 million or change and have access to the $1 billion? So I'm reading, and I know the answer to it, because most people would take the $1 million. But in my place where I operate, I can spend $1 million in 1 week. So I had to look at what was written. Now I'm not the owner of the $1 billion, but I do have access to do kingdom business in the earth. So whenever I need to do something that exceeds $1 million, I go get access to the $1 billion that's not going to run out as easily as $1 million. So if I'm able to do what God wants me to do, just like that, $1 million would be gone. Then I will have no more access to the $1 billion. But if I choose the $1 billion, this is wisdom. If I choose the $1 billion and having access to the $1 billion, when others have stopped building, I will still be building. So what I want to ask you, if you have a kingdom mind, what would your choices be? Because if you only take $1 million, you're going to be locked in after you build a couple of homes. But if you want to build a community, you need access to much more than $1 million. I got to change your mindset. Some of y'all in a week, you will be in poverty if you had $1 million. But if you understood the kingdom and the concept of the kingdom, the more you have access to, the more you can do. How many of y'all rather have access? I need to hear a shout from you. Much of the church, much of the mentality in the church, it wants to own it. No, just let me have enough access that the dreams that are on the inside of my heart, I can make them come to pass while I'm still living in this earth. Some of y'all's dreams are about to come to pass, and they're not far away, because I'm going to teach you how to get access, because if you own it, you limit it. But if you have access to it, you can do much more than your neighbor. Do not despise these small beginnings. Don't get frustrated when you're small. For the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. I want to hold on right there. I don't even want to go into Zerubbabel. I want to stop right there. The Bible says the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. We get frustrated because we think small beginnings are a curse. So we don't want to learn from where we are. We just want to go straight to the top. which means we have not learned how to stay at the top, because learning to stay at the top is steps. You value where you gain if you do the work to get there. The reason it's so easy to throw away success is because you didn't go through the steps to get there. I'm going to keep talking. Stay right where you are. Yeah, he going to have his way up in here. So 1 Corinthians 13, verse 11. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 11. Now, you got to understand that you don't know it all. People y'all's age, I got 2 clips, them downtown talking about Birmingham fighting. One young lady, I hope she ain't listening, she fought until her breast was hanging out, but she didn't stop fighting. I said, God, what in the world is going on in Birmingham? He said they need a kingdom perspective. And it's going to take grace, because we're entrenched in religion. When you don't stop fighting and you're exposed, I'm going to get your attention up in here. When you don't stop fighting and you drop your baby on the ground, when you're so deranged about retaliation that you don't realize you're destroying your family, and you're breaking friendships that you're going to need later, let me go on. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 11. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I have to become a man. I am not born a man. I have to grow into this mature state. It says, I put away childish things, childish activities. So if you despise small beginnings, which means I'm going to start out as a child. Many things that I do are going to be childish, and my understanding is going to be childish. My thinking pattern is going to be childish. But at a certain point, if I stay rooted in kingdom understanding, some of the quote unquote dumb stuff that I used to do, I'm not going to do that no more. Because now I'm in an environment where I'm growing. So I understand when I'm a child. I think that way. I operate that way because I'm a child. I'm not mature. But if I get into an environment like the mustard seed, I start growing. I don't make excuses for not being at the level I'm supposed to be in. I don't blame other people saying they took my place, because I'm mature now. I'm growing up now. Because to be immature is to blame other people for my failure. But if I'm mature, I own up to what's going on in my life, and I said things are about to change. Because now I'm in an environment now, I'm under a leadership that used to be a child. I did not omit my childhood. I grew through my childhood. I did not just become a leader. It took a process to be a leader. I am not just a pastor. I had to grow into my pastoral leadership. So I had to understand the mustard seed and its growth. Touch your neighbor, tell them, let's grow, let's grow. When you grow, you don't have to take from other people. When you grow, you don't have to be jealous of other people. When you grow, you can work as a team and not feel less than. When you grow, you're not intimidated by what they're dressed like. You have your own dress. You have your own swag. Let me help you. You wouldn't look good in that dress anyway. Why are you jealous of that dress? You got to know your curves and stop looking at their curves. They may not have any curve, but you got curves, so you got to watch yourself when you lust for somebody else's dress. Time to grow up. There are certain teaching and preaching skills that I don't have. But what I do have, I work that thing. You want to know why I work that thing? Because it works for me better than it'll work for them. And I will never, in a childish way, like something or want something that will never work for me. So I got to get out of these childish ways being intimidated by something that doesn't work well for me. So this mustard seed is distinct. It's very small. Some of you think you ought to have all this and all of that. Well, they got this, they got that. You got to learn how to work your mustard seed. If all you got is a small amount, you got to work it. You got to work it in the morning. You got to work it at noon. You got to work it in the evening. All you got to do is work it. If you work it and you do what you're supposed to do with it, I promise you, it will grow and it will flourish and it will become something you may not even imagine it will be. So I took 23 people, mustard seed. They were not all healthy people. They were not all biblically literate people, but I had enough to work with. When you got enough to work with, all you do is make sure it gets in the right environment and things will happen. Whoops, there it is. You don't need a business. If you get a job, you can own somebody's business. Go to work, baby. It's time. All you need is an open door and the avenues. You get, oh my God, I feel something. You get more favor when you step through the door. Right now, some of y'all are outside of the door. Get inside that door and watch things flourish. And don't get impatient, because you're growing every Sunday, every Wednesday. Things are changing on your behalf, and greatness is all over you, and ain't a devil in hell can stop it. The only way the devil can stop it is keep you from listening to me. And if you keep listening to me, we're going to open up that seed on the inside of you, and it's gonna bring forth. So the scripture says there's childlike periods in my life, but it also says that at a certain point I'm going to put those away because I've become mature. I watch people all the time. I watch how they handle situations. God even watched how they handle situations. The way they handle a situation dictates how mature they are. It doesn't matter about the physical age in the earth, because you can be 90 years old and still act like a child. So don't let anybody spook you out by saying, I'm older than you, so I'm more mature than you. That is not the truth. The truth of the matter is that if you get into a kingdom way of understanding, it is going to energize and impact your mind to where you have understanding of things that people who've been around here much longer than you have no understanding at all. So stay with me here, because maturity is not judged by age, because I've seen young fools and I've seen old fools. But we choose here at Refresh to not be fools at all. If some people would have known what I was thinking and planning to do with them, they would have never started acting like a fool. When you're in a house like this, you got to be conscious of the fact that everything that's flowing from the top wants to bring health to the body. It's foolish to think the head is working against the body. That's foolish. That ain't even kingdom thinking. Well, he's trying to cut me off. Well, if I cut you off, I'm not going to have a right arm. If I cut you off, I'm not going to have a leg. If I cut you off, I may have one eye. If I cut you off, I'm not going to have enough toes. It's not that way. In a kingdom house, you got to understand, nobody's trying to cut you off. We're trying to activate your function. We're trying to grow you up. I'm tired of scooting around. I need some legs that will walk. The only reason the legs won't support is they're not mature enough to understand their purpose. Let's stay right there for a little while, because the mustard seed, even though it was small, it wasn't against its purpose. Once you understand your purpose, then you understand what maturity is. I gotta grow this thing. I may be it, but I'm not ready yet, because I can't hold the weight. But if I keep coming in and I keep getting stronger, I won't make my man of God have a limp. And what I done, I came around and I came to grow, so that when my man of God needs me to walk, I walk. I'm not a limp. I'm not holding back. I'm not slothful. I don't slow down the process. I don't bring any adversity. I bring compliments to what I'm a part of, because I am mature and I know my role. I know my space. I know what God has given me. And I know how to work it. Every single day I do something to grow. I heard Dr. Samuel Chan, he said this years ago. He said, in order to be great, you have to increase your threshold of pain. He said, in order to be great, you have to increase your threshold of pain. If you're still dwelling in what happened to you back then, you won't be able to handle what's going to happen to you now. Can I help y'all some? There's a pain when you can't get up. There's another pain when you do get up. The pain of when you couldn't get up was a type of pain that says, I'm depleted of myself. But when you get up, there's another pain. Because the ones who didn't help you that align with you now are going to start hating you. So if you can't deal with the pain then, you can't deal with the pain now. Because you thought they were all going to celebrate you. But God introduced you to pain early so you will know how to facilitate pain. Because the hang up for most of you is you don't know how to facilitate pain. You staying up all night thinking about what they done when you should be strategizing for the next morning. So if you can't strategize for the next morning, it's because you can't deal with the pain that you just came out of. It don't matter. They can't stop me anyway. Why am I going to spend all my time worried about them? They ain't going nowhere. You can tell by the way they think. You stay focused, endure the pain, get ready, because more pain will come, but you're going to keep going higher. Anybody ready to go higher? Can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you? Some of y'all got a problem with being alone. So you have surrounded yourself with a lot of unruly people. That mustard seed had to be alone. Had to be in a place that was isolated away. Some people isolate themselves because of previous hurt. You ain't got to isolate yourself. God's going to make sure that happens. I'm going to tell you, God's going to make sure that He's going to make sure that you're in a place where nobody around you understands you. He's going to make sure you got an assignment on your life that nobody understands. And He's going to make sure those who look just like you criticize you. He's going to make sure underneath that soil there's enough manure to let you know everybody's messy until they can celebrate your rising. Greatness always goes through a burial process. Let me help you again. Greatness always goes through a burial process. Environments that seem unfitting for the kingdom seed brings out the best in it. People say they want to walk my walk because everything looks good now, doesn't it, Lady Davis? It looks good now. It looks good now. But if I could exchange now for my journey and the disappointments of my journey and the hurt and the pain of my journey, I'm glad I'm where I am now because the price was so high. And the thought of giving up was so consistent. But I'm glad that I got over it. But I had to deal with some environments that was not fitting. So I thought. But that's what brought out the best in me. Let me help you with something. My mentor said this. He said, I put procedures, policies, and procedures together and in place for every challenge that I had while I was growing. Which means you have written on paper your defense against everything that you will come up against. You have legal documents for every idiot that tried to impose on what God gave you. I was trying to tell Coco about that today. What you have in writing will stand in court when you got an enemy that wants to take you out no matter what. So you create this all comes from the from these environments that seemed unfitting. There's some structure that I have in my life. I didn't need it until I got an enemy. Until I got into a certain environment, I didn't think I need that. Listen, business owners, you better have you a good attorney if you're doing good business. See, I got 3 people clapping your hand. Oh, y'all not ready. Y'all not ready. You think you going somewhere and you don't have an attorney? I promise you, somebody's going to try to sue you. I'm talking to the streamers right now. So you're going to engage in environments that seem unfitting for the kingdom seed. But it's not necessarily that it's unfitting. What it does, it prepares you. See, y'all got to be prepared. Y'all think because it's a church, it's a freebie. No, you get trained when you get beyond 10 members. So it's a training. You go through some tough stuff, rough stuff, difficult stuff. But it doesn't kill you. And what doesn't kill you is there to make you. Hear me. If it didn't kill you, I don't care what you're facing right now. If it didn't kill you, it's making you. You didn't know you could worship in the midst of a situation like that until you did. You didn't know how faithful you could be to God until you were in that situation where your worship and your praise was challenged. But look at you up in here. Some of y'all had some stuff going on outside, and here you are inside giving God glory. You may have come on your own. You may have been invited. But this message is for you because everybody's got some mess going on that seems unfitting for the season they're in. But if you still got a shout, won't you use it right now? Because no weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper in this environment. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. The kingdom seed is so, I like this. I like this. It's so unassuming because of its size. They underestimated you. They underestimated you. They looked at your size. They looked at your beginning, just like you saw your size and you saw your beginning, but they underestimated you. They looked at David when David said, I'm going to go and take this Goliath out. I'm going to take him out for y'all. They looked at his size and said, look, boy, you need to get to the side over here. This is a grown man who is trained. He said, but I'm little, but I'm trained too. See, when you get somebody, see, that's what they don't understand about me, Lady Davis. I'm not doing church with them. I'm trained to do what I do. They ain't trained to do what they do. They ain't read enough, studied enough, been around enough. I'm trained to do what I do. So if this thing flips, it'll start over again. You got to be so trained and so intelligent in what you do that nothing that's a giant scares you anymore. You need to be able to look in the devil's face when he threatens you, threaten him back. Tell him, no, I'm going to feed you to the vultures today. I'm going to give your carcass to the vultures today. You may have come against me with a spear and a sword, but I came to you as a trained man in the name of the Lord. And you got to understand that you're strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Don't get punked out by punks. Okay. You're unassuming. You're so unassuming. They didn't expect that to come out of you. They labeled this of me when I was in Atlanta because I'm a country boy. I worked on my language. I used to sound more country than I do now. But I knew I was going somewhere, so I worked on my language for where I was going. My way of approaching things, my way of articulating, I worked on that. But I'm still the same man at heart. But I'm now equipped for where I'm going because I'm intentional about that. If you believe you're going somewhere, you spend your personal time preparing for where you're going. Because it's what you do in your private time that determine what you're going to do in your public time. So some people want to be public, but they're not a professional at what they do in private. So this is what David said. I took the lion by the beard. when he took one of my daddy's flock. They weren't even mine, they were my father. I took that lion out when the lion came after my daddy's flock. And then a bear came and tried to do the same thing. I took that bear by the beard and I slew him too. And I wasn't going to let anybody take my daddy's stuff. I wasn't going to let anything kill my daddy's stuff. And now that I got my own stuff, you think I can't fight? You think I can't come through? I'm already in my private time when nobody was watching, when nobody gave me a certificate, when nobody gave me a trophy, when nobody celebrated me, when nobody honored me. I got enough battles that I fought and won in private, baby. Now that I'm standing up in public, I ain't worried about the devil. The same way they came down is the same way that the others will come down. Somebody need to clap your hands right there. So he walked up. He was so unassuming. He walked up. He was like, you ain't even a threat. They tried to put King Saul, tried to put his armor on him, and it didn't fit. He was so small, his armor didn't fit. That's why I don't try to hoop, because it's not in me. If you're waiting for a hoop, you're going to miss my message. You're going to miss my empowerment. Because I got to say something, because you're called to do something. I'm going to say it again. I got to say something because you're called to do something. If I start acting like I got asthma, you're going to miss your word for the destiny that God has for you. And I'm not against hooping at all. But while I'm hooping, you will be missing. And I'm going to preach because you got a destiny greater than anybody you've been raised around. And stop making excuses that you don't know nobody up there. You don't need to know anybody, because God is taking you to an arena to transform your life, so that you can help people that's where you came from. God didn't send you here because I didn't have enough vision. God sent you here because I got more than enough vision. And if you listen to me, we can tap into your potential and stop thinking like a loser, because you're not a loser. You're a winner, waiting on the encouragement, waiting on the watering of the Spirit, because you got buried by your situation. But there's something on the inside of you that says, I got a great future. And there's a tree inside of every seed. Once I started rising, I don't know how to quit. They said, why don't you settle down? You got all this, the church is paid off. Why don't you settle down? But I'm a mustard seed.
It's coming. 3 powerful days. The Shift Conference. Join conference host Apostle Stephen and Lady Darlene Davis. October 5th through the 7th.
Let them know that we're in the Shift Conference. We came to shift the atmosphere.
Get ready for Bishop Joseph Walker III.
Be careful who you give up on, because you never know what God is going to do.
Then get ready for Pastor Keon Henderson.
He's coming back to look for a church without a spot or a wrinkle. And you trying to get a paycheck? I'm trying to go to heaven.
And don't miss the powerful preaching of Dr. Jasmine Sklark.
And look at your neighbor and say, this is how I fight my battles. I don't cry about it, I shout over it.
The Shift Conference 2025, October 5th through the 7th. Register now at theshiftco.org.